Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
Ron is here, everyone. Welcome back for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. For the new viewers, SPTV, SP means suppressive person. That is what Scientology calls former Scientologists who speak out about Scientology abuse. That's why this channel is called SPTV. And SPTV also is a term that collectively is used to refer to just all former Scientologists who speak out on YouTube. So for you newcomers, of which there are a lot recently, just wanted to briefly explain that. Okay, today's a little bit of a twofer. We have news, again, just from today, September 9th, of Chester Bennington's son, Jamie, publicly bashing Mike Shinoda and the band Linkin Park for what has happened with Scientologist Emily Armstrong. And there's also a new post that was made by Cedric Bixler-Zavala, whose wife, Chrissy Carnell Bixler, was Jane Doe 3 in the Danny Masterson prosecution. And the overlap of these worlds, the music world, the Scientology world, the Danny Masterson trial world, is where all the controversy is coming from regarding adding Scientologist Emily Armstrong to the band. And, you know, Emily's been a long time friend and supporter of Danny Masterson and showed up to the arraignment, Danny Masterson's arraignment, and was involved in a scene that occurred where Jane Doe 1 was intimidated by Danny Masterson's entourage. That is the source of all of this controversy. So let's start by I'm going to share with you the article that talks about Chester's son. Okay, Chester Bennington's son Jamie hits out at Mike Shinoda for betraying trust of Linkin Park fans with Emily Armstrong. The band recently shared news of the new vocalist, as well as details of their upcoming album and world tour. All right, I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. All right, Chester Bennington's son Jamie has criticized Mike Shinoda following the Linkin Park comeback with new vocalist Emily Armstrong, accusing Mike of betraying trust of fans. Okay, we're not going to read the whole article. Emily Armstrong joins the lineup in place of late vocalist Chester Bennington, who died in 2017. Initially, the reception was largely positive among fellow artists and fans, but controversy soon arose after it emerged that Emily Armstrong seemingly had ties to Scientology and convicted rapist Danny Masterson. This was brought to light after a message sent to Emily Armstrong by the Mars Volta and former At the Drive-In frontman Cedric Bixler-Zavala. Okay. And Cedric has been making a whole bunch of spicy posts, understandably so. Cedric's wife, Chrissy Carnell Bixler, had accused Danny Masterson of raping her while they were in a relationship, having testified in 2022. And she also testified. 2022 was the first trial. The second trial was in 2023, and that is where Danny was convicted. By the way, I wanted to comment. Danny was charged with raping 3 women. He was convicted of raping 2 women. Many more women testified at the trial about having been raped by Danny Masterson. And they testified as what they call a past bad acts witness. And it might seem crazy, it might seem a little counterintuitive that someone can testify at a trial saying they'd been raped by Danny, but Danny not be and have Danny not be charged with that crime. But that is just the nature of the criminal justice system, whether we're talking about statute of limitations problems or whatever, you know, like someone could be testifying that something happened to them and what they're testifying about is past the statute of limitations. I won't claim to know exactly why each Jane Doe who testified for whom Danny was not charged. I will not speculate specifically why they were not charged, but I wanted to make that clear. No less than 8 women so far have claimed to have been raped by Danny Masterson. And that's the ones we know about, guys. Okay. Chrissy Carnell Bixler had previously issued a separate civil lawsuit against Danny Masterson. And that lawsuit is still going on, you guys. There's a lawsuit from Jane Doe 1, 2, and 3, Jane Doe 3's husband, and another one of Danny's victims. I have a lawsuit against Danny Masterson, David Miscavige, and the Church of Scientology International for the harassment, intimidation, fair game tactics that have been unleashed upon the Jane Does and their families after coming forward to the police. So that Danny Masterson is wrapped up in that lawsuit as well. Okay. In response, Emily Armstrong issued a statement on her Instagram stories saying, I wanted to clear the air about something that happened a while back. Several years ago, I was asked to support someone I considered a friend at a court appearance and went to one early hearing as an observer. Soon after, I realized I shouldn't have. I always try to see the good in people, and I misjudged him. I have never spoken with him since. Unimaginable details emerged, and he was later found guilty. To say it as clearly as possible, I do not condone abuse or violence against women, and I empathize with the victims of these crimes. Now, Jamie Bennington, the son of the late frontman, has taken to social media to share his thoughts on the Reformation with Emily Armstrong and criticized Mike Shinoda for betraying Linkin Park fans with the decision. Okay, Bennington shared a screenshot of recent comments made by Mike Shinoda, in which the founding member addressed how fans may need time to wrap their heads around the band reforming with Emily Armstrong. In the comments, Shinoda also said that those who disrespect him due to the decision will lose my respect in return. Okay, so Chester's son said, hey, Mike, people aren't having a difficult time wrapping their head around the prospect of Linkin Park reinventing itself. They're having a hard time wrapping their head around how you hired your friend of many years, Emily Armstrong, to replace Chester, knowing Emily's history in Scientology and her history as an ally to Danny Masterson. Quietly erasing my father's life and legacy in real time during International Suicide Prevention Month and refusing to acknowledge the impact of hiring someone like Emily Anderson. I'm sorry. Wait. Emily, am I getting, I'm having a total brain fart because Emily looks a lot like Laura Armstrong. Emily Armstrong, I'm sorry. Emily Armstrong and Laura Anderson look a lot like each other, and they have similar last names. So apologies for that. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Quietly erasing my father's life and legacy in real time during International Suicide Prevention Month and refusing to acknowledge the impact of hiring someone like Emily Armstrong without so much as a clarifying statement on the variety of victims that make up your core fan base. Yeah. I do get the sense that there's been some a rift between Chester's son and the band for a while. Let's see. We don't have to read all of this here. In a follow-up post, he said that the decision is not as straightforward as being a shock that people are just going to have to take time to process and understand, but instead something that betrayed the trust loaned to you by decades of fans and supporting human beings, including myself. We trusted you to be the bigger, better person, to be the change, because you promised us that was your intention. Now you're just senile and tone deaf. Okay. There seems to be a question of how long Emily Armstrong has been a friend of the band. I will note, Emily and the band have the same management, which I guess at this point you would expect them to have the same management if she's a part of the band. But what I mean is Emily has had the same management as the band for a long time. This is not a recent marriage, if you will. Okay, we're going to scroll forward here, see what else we have. Okay. Not all of this article is terribly relevant to what I want to highlight. So there is a show coming up at the Kia Center very, very soon. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. That's what I wanted to show you what Chester's son has said. I'm also going to show you what Cedric Bixler-Zavala put out yesterday. I've got a little bit of a prediction here. I can tell you the young Scientology crowd, and I guess by young, I always include myself or younger. So all the people I consider to be Scientology kids are now in their late 30s and early 40s. So all of the 40-something or younger Scientologists in LA, I promise you, will be at the next Linkin Park show. Something tells me that all of the former Scientologists who have been involved in and supportive of the protester community over the last year might also be at the Kia Center for the Linkin Park show. And I'll tell you who's not really good at controlling their tempers or knowing how to interact with protesters or former Scientologists, and that is Scientologists. The Scientologists who work on L. Ron Hubbard Way have pretty much been trained not to interact with the protesters. But that's a different crowd than just the actual LA-based second, third generation Scientologist crowd. If those current Scientologists who are going to the concert to, just because their friend Emily is, now the front man for the band, and they see protesters like Serge Del Mar, I'm trying to think who else has been, like Laura Anderson. I don't know if she's in LA right now, but could you imagine if Serge and Laura were protesting at the Linkin Park show and all of their former Scientology friends showed up? Now I'd tune in to watch that. I don't know if Laura's in town. I hope Laura gets back to LA in time for the show, because something tells me Laura would be there. Okay. Let's see. How about next? I want to show you. Let's switch over to Cedric. Okay. So this is an article. I'm not going to read you this article. I'm going to show you the headline, but then I'm just going to show you Cedric's Instagram. So the headline is the Mars Volta's Cedric Bixler-Zavala blasts Linkin Park for not thoroughly vetting new singer's Scientology ties. All right, so let's just go to Cedric's IG. Cedric basically reposted a post that his wife Chrissy had done the day before. I already did a video on that. I've actually already done 2 videos on it, so I don't want to rehash it right now. But here's what Cedric had to say when he reposted it. A message from my wife above. And here's a message from me. Emily, did you know that your friend Chris Wadhams and Danny Masterson would drive by one of the Jane Does very slowly after an effed up day of cross-examinations and follow her in their car, staring at her, trying to intimidate her? I do. Did you know that Alana Masterson would hide in the bathrooms after one of the Jane Does had a massive panic attack on the stand and proceeded to harass her in the bathroom, calling her a liar? What, you didn't hear about that? Did your parents shield you from that? Your Office of Special Affairs parents? For those who don't know, Emily's folks are still members of Scientology's Sea organization. Her mother works directly on the lines of Scientology's leader, David Miscavige. Her mother is actually one of the Scientology executives who was locked up in a prison at Gilman Hot Springs, California on a Scientology base, some for as many as 5 years. And so, yes, that's what Cedric is referring to when he says your OSA parents. The Office of Special Affairs is the dirty tricks department of the Church of Scientology International. Okay. Your OSA parents, did your OSA parents shield you from that? Or were you cool with that? Doesn't your church call that the fair game policy? Weren't you just hanging out with Bijou Phillips? Cedric uses some choice words, choice descriptors of Bijou there. Weren't you just hanging out with Bijou Phillips just a couple days ago? Oh, wait, Bijou is okay now because she divorced Danny? Bijou sure had a grand old time reading my wife's police report in a mocking post. Remember how Bijou screamed when they took Danny Masterson away? I bathe in that moment every single effing day. Careful, homegirl, that Phillips curse is contagious. Just read Mackenzie Phillips' book. You should also read up on what that effing dingbat Bijou's past behavior. Guys, it is not broadly known that Bijou herself has been accused of sexual assault. And just Google it, by David Blaine. It involves David Blaine and Leonardo DiCaprio, if I'm not mistaken. Google it and find out for yourself. Okay, Cedric continues. That is, of course, if Scientology allows you to read about her. They do have a policy against reading anything critical of Scientology and its members. Your church also has a bad snitching culture where you write knowledge reports on fellow members who are not following the teachings of L. Ron Hubbard, just like the East German Stasi imposed on its citizens. That's your church? Today is the 1-year anniversary of having put that shitbag that you thought was a good guy in jail. You can't even say sorry to the Jane Does properly, huh? Your apology is worded as if you hired some PR crisis team to help you. As for Linkin Park, you should fire your entire team for not thoroughly vetting your choice. You're a Disney-level brand trying to make a comeback, and you didn't think to spend a little money on looking into her? Stop playing At the Drive-In's music on your pre-show playlist. Wow. There's so many layers to this. Cedric was friends with Chester Bennington. And the fact that Cedric was friends with Chester's married to one of Danny Masterson's victims, and the band replaces Chester with a Scientologist who supported the Scientologist who raped Cedric's wife. It's mind-blowing how these worlds have overlapped. By the way, I've received a question like, what would be good enough for you? What would be good enough for you? What could Linkin Park do? What could Emily do that would be good enough for you? First of all, who cares what would be good enough for me? I'm not the aggrieved party here, but I have answered that question in yesterday's video, and I'm going to publish it as a breakout video later today. So it doesn't really matter what's good enough for me. It seems to me that it matters what's good enough for the fans. So here is there's an email that I got today. I'm going to pull this up real quick. I thought this was great. This is from longtime viewer and channel supporter, Jim, Fat Cat's Heaven, in the live chat. He said, here is something that fans can post on Linkin Park's Facebook groups, their social media platforms. And this is an honest question. And well, here it is. It's a question for Emily. If someone is having thoughts of self-harm, do you support them seeking out help from mental health professionals like a psychologist or a psychiatrist? That is an amazing question. A Scientologist believes that psychiatry and psychology and the entire field of mental health. Oh, there you go, Fat Cats. Fantastic. Thank you for bringing that up, Marilyn. Scientologists believe that psychiatry and psychology, combined, and the mental health field is like the single most damaging and destructive force on planet Earth, or in this sector of the Galactic Federation, to be totally precise. And the fact that she's replacing the previous frontman of the band, who took his own life because of the demons he was facing, in part due to the child SA that he experienced. And the fact that he would be replaced by someone who's a part of an organization that actively prevents its own members from seeking any treatment for mental health problems is part of the reason that fans are so outraged. So, all these questions are, how do we know Emily's involved? How do we know she still supports this? How do we know she still supports that? It's purely within Emily's power to address these concerns. And one thing Emily could do to address the concerns of the fans is to actually answer this question, because a Scientologist would say only Scientology can fix mental health problems. A Scientologist might also say what Tom Cruise has very publicly said, diet, exercise, vitamins, sleep handle almost all mental illness. And for the illness that doesn't work for, Scientology auditing. Diet, exercise, sleep, vitamins, Scientology. Well, if Emily was only if the only reason Emily doesn't speak out against Scientology is because she doesn't want to lose her mom and her family and her friends, maybe she could just say something like this. Yes, if someone is having thoughts of self-harm, I do think they should get professional mental health care that they need in order to save their lives. That would at least put a lot of people at ease. Would it be good enough for everyone? Who knows? Nobody speaks for everyone, but it would be something. It would at least be something. All right. Let's see. I've got Marilyn helping me start some comments in the back. So let's start tackling these. Thank you so much, Marilyn. Oh, Scientology up north is in the chat. Always good to see you. Good evening from Denmark. The countdown for clearing Scientology from this galactic confederacy has begun. Absolutely. Jacob Madsen, Mike Shinoda is honestly pissing on Chester's grave by choosing this singer. There you go. Pratik Singh, hey, I talked to a lot of Linkin Park fans, and the point where I'm stuck at is they ask for proof of Emily being a Scientologist. What can I do? Pratik, my best answer is please look at the video that I did yesterday on this, because I addressed this exact. I mean, it was actually the point of the entire video yesterday. So please share a link to that video. PB says all she needs to do is say she's out of Scientology publicly. Yeah, that will cause some problems, but that's all it takes, in my opinion. It would cause her some problems, but it certainly would put it would put the band in the clear. It would put her in the clear. It would be the right thing to do professionally, even though it might be complicated for her to do personally. It would not. It would only help her professionally. She would become a folk hero. I mean, it's hard to even imagine how much support the band and Emily would get if she actually did that. And considering that professional concerns are usually at the top of the list for people's excuses for not to leave Scientology. I mean, when I was under the radar for years, where like mentally I was out of Scientology, but I was still a Scientologist in good standing. And then at the end, not in good standing, but not actually declared. From like 2009 to 2014, I was what you would call an under the radar Scientologist. And that was for family reasons and professional reasons. But considering that Emily doesn't have any professional reasons to stay in, the complete opposite is true. Okay, Amber Manifold, don't get me wrong. I hate Scientology, but you're telling someone they can only do what they love and career if they leave a religion. You're taking away free rights. Well, thank you for the comment, Amber. So it's not up to anyone to tell Emily what she can do. Like, I can't tell Emily what she can or cannot do. I mean, when you're talking about a band, or I guess even if it were, a band in some ways is kind of like a company. The fans are kind of like the customers of the company. You are, as a business, you are answerable to, well, I mean, any entity is answerable to whatever the source of their money is. And when you're talking about a band, the source of their money is the fans. The fans get to decide if and how to support the band. I got to tell you, the outrage that's happening right now is not because Cedric is outraged or I am outraged. It's because the fans are outraged about the information that's been made public. So Emily's free to be a Scientologist. In fact, that was kind of the point of my video yesterday. Emily could denounce Danny Masterson without getting kicked out of Scientology. So it's not even like, oh, is she going to leave? Is she not going to leave? She doesn't have to leave. It's possible that even if she denounces Danny Masterson, it's totally possible the fans would still be outraged that she's a part of an organization that doesn't support mental health, that kicks members out for reporting child SA. I mean, the hypocrisy is pretty phenomenal. If a Scientologist's child is sexually abused by another Scientologist, and the parent of that child reports the matter to the police, the Scientologist will be expelled. You know what's going to be hard for the fans to wrap their minds around? That. Yeah. No one's taking Emily Armstrong's freedom of religion away from her. It's up to the fans who and what they want to support. That's what it comes down to. I do appreciate the question. Sierra wins. I got my 6-month channel membership badge. Congratulations, Sierra, and thanks for sticking with me for all this time. I appreciate it. Moni Kato, the stage is yours, Emily Armstrong. Stand up today and denounce Scientology. Jody Taylor, at least this whole debacle is bound to get the word out about Scientology to a whole new demographic of never-ends. Yeah, that's true. Allison Loper, first time on a live. First time, Allison. Congratulations and welcome. Glad to have you here. Jeffrey Augustine says, I had a fake lawyer call me yesterday to threaten me. Oh my God, I wish I would get a call from a fake lawyer, but I never answer the phone if it's a number that I don't recognize. So I wonder if I wish the fake lawyer would call me and at least leave a voicemail. Congratulations, Jeff. You should be honored. Amber Manifold, if Emily made a better apology, but did not leave Scientology, would people be okay with that? The more I think about this, and I mean, I just sort of showed that a few minutes ago. The more I think about it, I don't think an apology about the Danny Masterson thing is going to be enough. It has nothing to do with how I feel about it. I mean, I'll even go out on a limb and I will say, if she sincerely apologized to the Danny Masterson's victims, even if she did it privately, I personally would probably be okay with that. But if you give me a few more minutes to think about it, I'm probably going to ask myself, why would that be enough for me? And maybe it's because that's how this story started. The story started like, look, I've known Emily Armstrong's been a Scientologist forever. That wasn't news to me. The story started as a Danny Masterson thing. As time goes on, it seems to become more and more of a Scientology thing. So anyway, it's a good question. Would it be enough if she distanced herself from Danny, but she still supported Scientology? Would it be enough for the fans? Let me know what you guys think in the live chat. Matt7895 says she is not a Scientologist. The lyrics of their new single are very anti-Scientology. Well, Matt, I wish that was true, but it's not true. And, you know, if you're looking for it, if you're like, I've seen a lot of people mention this. If you look, these lyrics could mean this. They could mean this. They could mean an awful lot of things. I just, you know, look, if she's out of Scientology, then she should be able to say it, right? That's probably the best way to respond to this comment, man. If she's not a Scientologist, then tell me why she won't apologize to Danny Masterson's victims. Jeffrey Augustine says, Mike Shinoda's connections are being investigated. Excellent news. Chantel, as someone who's both studied psychology and been in therapy myself, I am offended by Linkin Park's choice. I'm glad Chester's son is speaking out. Thank you for commenting. Baby girl 5478, hi from Palatka, Florida. I don't even know where that is, but hello in Palatka, Florida. Courtney, Patrick CC just released a video about Scientology and Tom Cruise that has a ton of Aaron clips. I don't know who Patrick CC is, but Courtney, can you shoot me an email with a link at growingupinscientology@gmail.com? I would appreciate it. Gigi's mom, they should just hire Laura. She has such a great voice and maybe no one would notice the change. Oh my God, I just remembered there was something that I wanted to share with you guys. I have a photo from Emily Armstrong that was taken when she was still at the Scientology child slave ranch. And I am going to share it with you guys here. Bear with me while I get my screen share properly set up. I'm going to have to do it another way. Bear with me, guys. I have to screen capture it and then save it and then move it into the folder and then move it into Chrome. Da-da-dee, da-da-da, da-da-da. We're in business. Okay, check this out, guys. This is Emily Armstrong and Brandon Orlando. This photo was taken in about 2001. This is at what they call the Pack Ranch out in Los Angeles. It's where Scientology stuck its child slaves away from their parents. Now, by the way, Brandon Orlando is not the one who gave me that photo. If you're an under-the-radar Scientologist, beware of Brandon Orlando. Do not let him know you're under the radar. He will rat you out to the Scientology authorities. Brandon's one of these Pack Ranchers, former Sea Org members who he's not really a Scientologist, but he's still connected to his mom who's in Scientology. So whenever Brandon gets in trouble, he gets called in and he just rats out anyone that he knows of who's under the radar. So beware of Brandon Orlando if you yourself are under the radar. But so we don't have to wonder whether Emily understands the horrific abuses that the kids suffered at Scientology's child slave ranch, because she was there, guys. Okay, let's see here. Meniscus 5, thank you very much. Preetam Roy, what the hell is even Scientology? Well, you've come to the right place. Stick around, browse the video lists, the live stream lists. You might want to watch Going Clear, the Scientology in the Aftermath TV show, or just as many YouTube videos as you could possibly binge. Izzy B, I just need a live streamer with me. Fans need to know. I've offered to purchase floor seats so that we can educate the fans. Danny Masterson isn't the largest issue for fans who needed the emotional connection. All of my posts are removed. Hi, Izzy. I seriously doubt your posts are being removed here. That's for sure. Oh, maybe you're talking about in some of the Linkin Park pages. This is incredible. Okay, so you want to go to the show and have a live streamer come with you. Izzy, shoot me an email at growingupinScientology@gmail.com. Let me see if I can connect you with somebody. That would be awesome. Thank you so much for the super chat too. Merbear, I love it. Oh, it's a bear. It's a mermaid bear. Oh my God, I love it. Hey there, first time chatter. Is anyone else worried that Linkin Park will become a Scientology mouthpiece? It's a very genuine concern for the fans of the band. And by the way, if they had just reconstituted under a different band name, I don't think anybody would be complaining about this. Is, hot take on my part. Sci-Fi Bandit, Scientology takes away free rights. Isn't that the truth? Lisa Kelson, make sure and watch Kelly Copter's cover of Numb. Excellent. Yeah, I saw that video. It was fantastic. You guys, Kelly's Copter channel is called Kelly Copter, so you can check that out. Eclectic Jen, please what Chrissy posted on her IG stories. Eclectic Jen, I've done a few videos already where in each one of the videos I actually show what she posted. So just check out probably the first 3 videos I did on the Linkin Park thing, and you'll be able to see that. Lethanda Grauklinga, we stand with the Jane Does all the way, always. Absolutely. Brody, Aaron, I love your channel. And as a former Jehovah's Witness, I want to know if you're familiar with it. As a Linkin Park fan, I am shocked by this news. I personally don't have much familiarity at all with Jehovah's Witnesses, but I can tell you as I move forward with this channel, I will be doing more and more interviews with people from other groups. And I'll definitely be talking with former Jehovah's Witnesses. And if you'd like to talk with me, Brody, shoot me an email, growingupinScientology@gmail.com. Rolling with life's punches. Did you read Miriam's letter to Emily? It was so hard hitting. I did read it. And I'm even considering doing just like a dedicated video about it. But I figured Miriam will probably do her own video as well. So, but yeah, it was amazing. Sherry Bandito, new to the channel. Is the person hosting the stream Grow Up in Scientology or Get Out or thank you, Marilyn. I'm the host. I'm Aaron. No, that's a joke. Aaron. I go by Aaron. And yes, I grew up in Scientology. And if you're watching right now and you have not seen the interview that I did with Lex Friedman on the Lex Friedman podcast, just Google Lex Friedman Aaron, and you'll see the interview. It's one of the places where I've told my story as completely as could be. I was in the first season of Leah Remini's Scientology in the Aftermath show. I looked a little different back then, but I'm one of those episodes is about me. And I did also go pretty deep into my whole Scientology story recently on the Julian Dory podcast. So if you Google Julian Dory, Aaron Smith-Levin, you'll find that. I tend not to get into my story on my channel because it's not really why I created my channel. And eventually, talking about your own story just gets a little boring. But yes, thank you for the question. Okay, let me see. Oh, Izzy's back. Hundreds of my posts to Linkin Park's channel and fan sites are removed. I keep trying. Watch two types of content on YouTube. SPTV and Linkin Park have been actively fighting since. Won't stop. Izzy, that is awesome. Let me see who I can get you connected up with, depending on what it is you want to get done in LA or at the show. And thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Nancy, Allie, great to see you. It blows my mind that she could be the front face of Linkin Park and Scientology would allow it. That's actually a really good point. That's a really good point. Do you know that Scientologists in Clearwater, Florida, and in the towns surrounding Clearwater, Florida, are told by Scientology they are not allowed to run for elected office, because it would just be a feeding frenzy of the press covering all of the negative information that's out there about Scientology, because all of a sudden it's particularly newsworthy. It's actually kind of amazing that they allowed Emily to take such a famous role here, knowing that Emily's own mother was locked up in a prison that Scientology's leader, David Miscavige, created at Scientology's international management headquarters in Gilman Hot Springs, California. Like, now that's what people are going to be talking about. That hadn't even occurred to me. Because it's true, there are so many Scientologists who want to succeed and be famous they want to be famous. And it is true that Scientology uses its famous members like Tom Cruise and John Travolta and Jenna Elfman and Michael Pena, and it used to be Lisa Mae Presley, it used to be Beck. They use these people to bring people in. So you would think they would want to make more and more of these people. And there's a lot of young Scientologists who aspire to be these people. And yet, it actually ends up creating a lot of bad PR for Scientology. Interesting to think about that. Brody says, one more chat. I'll say this about Jehovah's Witnesses and Scientologists. They were all around impoverished inner cities. Oh, they were all around impoverished inner cities. LOL, for context, I'm from South Central LA. Interesting. Yeah. It's funny that Scientology would bother having a presence in impoverished areas, since it is so damn expensive to do Scientology. But then again, they could recruit people to join staff and join the Sea Org. I guess that's what they do in impoverished countries as well. And Eclectic Jen says, Chrissy posted new Instagram stories 16 hours ago and 13 hours ago. I'll check it out. I'm almost positive I saw them, and I can't remember why I decided not to include them in this video. I can't remember if it was because I was already going to do something about Cedric, or if maybe it'll be for a future video, but I will check it out. And Fred Drager, I think one needs to take a step back and let the fans vote with their money. Let the crew protest against Scientologist practices. I totally agree with you about letting the fans vote with their money. I guess where I may not totally agree with you is that anybody needs to step back. Like, why? It's not like people are outraged because I'm telling them to be. I mean, if anything, I think the only thing I'm adding to this conversation is trying to do my best to explain the Scientology components of it, and trying to do my best to explain how Emily's own life might be impacted, both for the positive and for the negative, based on the Scientology components of the story. Otherwise, I mean, no one's following my lead here. They're just coming to me for certain aspects of information about this. But thank you, Fred, for your comment and your super chat. I appreciate it. All right, everyone, that is it for me on this for now. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe